there was a point where I was lagging behind my peers because I decided to pursue CA after graduation, and most of my friends did it after 12th. So while they were almost finishing the course, I was not even in the middle of it. So at that point of time, people, would tell me that, this is a very bad decision. Why did you do it so late? What if you ultimately never clear the exam? And now that I have cleared the exam, I'm also working in a very good company. Everything's going well. The same people just come and tell me that, hey, I mean, we always knew you will do great things in life. So, just shut off the noise. You figure out what you want to do with your career.
क्या आप भी लोगों की मदद कर उनका लाइफ इंप्रूव करना चाहते हैं या फिर आपको भी स्पोर्ट्स खेलना पसंद है? Stay tuned for today's session. Hello folks, welcome to the series named The Placement Guide, where we help students to know about different career opportunities. Today, we have a very special guest amongst us whose name is Priyal Keni. Priyal is a chartered accountant and currently working as a consultant. She was international rifle shooter with international rank 5 and had won 117 plus medals and also broken 3 national records. She was selected into McKinsey Next Gen Women Leader and also into LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program. She is also the founder of non-profit organization Play and Sign Foundation. That's really amazing journey, Priyal. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and coming up to the show.
Thank you so much, Madhur, for the warm welcome. And I'm super excited to see the discussion that we'll have over the next 30 to 40 minutes. And let's see what questions you have in store for me.
Before we proceed, do like and share this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe the channel for more such videos. Let's deep dive into your journey, Priyal. How did you develop your interest towards rifle shooting?
So rifle shooting happened to me at the age of 13, but it wasn't the very first sport that I had pursued. So I always had this thing of keeping myself busy with a lot of extracurricular activities, and it all started with my mom putting me into classical singing at the age of 3. So I started classical singing very early on, also tried classical dancing. And then when I got a little older and started school and reached an age where I could start pursuing sports, that's when I took up basketball first, and then there was throwball, chess. A lot of sports had been pursued by me before I stumbled upon shooting. And I think the first time I picked up a rifle, I absolutely loved the feeling of resting my cheek on the butt of the rifle and taking an aim and hitting the bullseye. So I think there was some inner intuition or inner calling that told me that, this is it. This is what I really like doing. And besides pursuing other sports previously, had made me realize that, field sports or aggressive sports is probably not my thing. I'm more towards a mental sport or a sport that expects me to be more calm and composed. And that is the kind of person I am. So that is how a lot of things came together and shooting worked out. And there was no looking back. Trust me, time just flew. It's been 14 years in this sport now. And now when I look back, it just feels like, so much of time has gone by. But it still feels like just yesterday I picked up a rifle for the first time and took my first steps in this sport.
Yeah, that really seems an amazing journey, exploring so many different sports. And like nowadays, most students just get into studies and they like skip exploring and playing sports. But your journey seems really interesting, doing so many sports part.
Thanks a lot, Mother. And I'm glad sports happened to me at the right time, at the right age, because the kind of exposure I've got through it has played a pivotal role in shaping my personality or the kind of person I am today.
So when you first started your journey into sports, then many people would have dissuaded you by saying like women shouldn't play sports. So how did you tackle those challenging situations?
So yes, I heard a lot of criticism initially when I took up sport, and it all started from the fact that I was very good in academics. So I used to be a prize winner consistently. My marks used to be always good. And then in the 8th grade, when I decided to pursue sports seriously, it made a lot of people uncomfortable. And the most common advice I got is, you're good at academics. Why would you do sports when you're just 2 years away from your 10th grade and 12th grade is important? So might as well focus on your academics at this stage, and sports will get you nowhere and your entire career will be destroyed, and your marks will go down. So I got a lot of this, and then there were even a bunch of people who were like, at the end of the day, you're a girl. Girls don't anyway make a career in sports. There were a few people who came and told me that, if you train for long hours of the day with a 6.5 kg rifle, you'll probably get a tan or you'll develop a masculine physique. So why do such a manly sport? Probably if you want to really pursue sport, do something more feminine, like a gymnastics or a badminton or a table tennis, where it's not as rigorous as the sport of rifle shooting. And honestly, when at the start I heard all of this, it would affect me because I was all of just the age of 13 at that stage. But luckily, my parents, especially my mom, they gave me a lot of unconditional support, even though I was the first one in my family to pursue sport. Nobody had pursued sport before that. So now when I look back, I just feel it must have taken them a lot of courage to actually not only believe in me, but be my source of strength and support. And I'm glad I never listened to whatever free advice I got from the rest of the world and focused on what I had to do. Because now on the other side, when I look back, none of those comments had any base. Like, sports did not affect my academics. I completed my CA. I am working in consulting. I nowhere feel that, having a tan or having a masculine physique is anything that I have grown up to develop. So I think that is the most important thing, that when you want to truly pursue something, just shut off all external noise and focus on what you have to do.
Yeah, that's a very useful advice that you shared. And I guess slowly there is some changes happening in our society. Like nowadays we see many 12 to 18-year boys and girls who are adopting sports as a career.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. And when I started sport back in 2008-9, the entire ecosystem was very different from what it is now. A lot of change has come. People are aware of so many more sports other than just cricket and football. Now at the Olympics, people are following gymnastics, they're following fencing, they're following archery. When I started and I used to say, I do shooting, they used to immediately think I'm a photographer or a cinematographer. Now people understand what rifle shooting is. So a lot has changed. You see so many people supporting women's sports, which was not the case like a decade back. So I would say things are very different now, but we still have miles to go. But I'm sure we'll get there, and things are changing with every passing day.
So what is your biggest takeaway from your sports journey?
So I think my biggest takeaway from the sports journey is believe in yourself and do what you feel right. No matter what you do in life, you're a human being at the end of the day. So there will be times where you will take the right decisions, and then there'll be times where you'll probably not take the right decision, but you'll learn a lesson, you will grow out of it, and you will keep moving ahead because as you continue to work on your goals. I mean, that is the journey for growth, and your growth lies outside your comfort zone. So don't self-exclude yourself, because when I started shooting, though I had big dreams, I used to discount myself heavily. I used to feel I'm not good enough. Will I win this medal? Will I make it to the Indian team? I had a lot of doubt, because of which at an initial stage, I let go of a lot of opportunities just because I felt, that I'm not a fit for it, or probably someone else can do it better than me. And now when I look back, that is what regrets me, that, I wish I had just believed in myself and tried, because till you don't try, you will never know what the true extent of your potential is or how far you can go. And sometimes you'll just end up surprising yourself how good you can be, just because you decided to put yourself out of your comfort zone and pursue something very, very different. So I think my biggest key takeaway from sport was learning to believe in myself and developing something that's called a winner's mindset, where you are humbled by success and you look at failure as nothing but a stepping stone to success itself. So it's about being positive, believing in yourself, and just continuing to work in the right direction towards your goals.
Yeah, completely agree with the mindset that you shared, that one needs to develop like the winner's mindset towards self-development and towards one's own career.
I Thanks a lot. I mean, when I actually say these aspects to a lot of people who are non-sports persons, there's this always a bit of a disconnect with understanding what I'm trying to say, and then I get a lot of follow-up questions that how do you think what you learn from sports, how do you apply it with respect to consulting, or how that helped you clear your chartered accountancy? But I think you really got the connection well.
So how did you develop your interest towards CA after your wonderful sports career?
So my strong liking for academics is something that stayed in spite of the fact that I excelled in sport. So I remember when I was in the 12th grade, I was one of the toppers in the state board exam. And I had also just come back from Germany and finished fifth at an international competition at a world level. So, at that point of time, I really told myself that, I'm good at sport and I'm good at academics. And I was getting from everyone that you'll have to choose one, you cannot do both, and I kept asking myself that why can't I do both? I mean, what's stopping me? Of course there will be trade-offs, there will be times where I will have to prioritize one over the other, but that doesn't mean that I have to completely give up on one just because I want to pursue the other. So because academics was always my thing, and I did not ever want to pursue my passion for sport at the cost of giving up any of my academic goals. That is why CA was something that had always been there on my mind. But till I was finishing my graduation, I decided to just focus on my graduation studies and my sports. And once graduation was over, I took up the CA course in like full swing and just ticked it off my career chart.
Yeah, that's really nice perspective of balancing both sports as well as academics. Like most people do fall into this misconception that they can only manage one thing. But many people, including you, have showed that one can do both things together if they are really interested into doing it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a very common perception that people have that, if you pursue sports, it's going to mess up with your academics. But I can name so many of my friends and so many of my seniors who have totally nailed being the best of both worlds. They have managed great academics with rewarding sports careers. And when you meet such people and when you interact with such people, it kind of shows you that, how wrong it is that you cannot do both things. That is why I highly encourage my juniors that, don't take decisions based on just blind advice. See for yourself, speak to people who've pursued both, and then take a decision whether you want to do both or you want to just give up one. Either ways, I respect both decisions because I've had friends who've decided to only focus on one because they wanted their share of work-life balance. They wanted to do more justice to just one aspect. And then I've had friends like me who decided to go all out and do both. So either ways, it's a personal decision and I respect both. But whatever it is, make sure you make an informed decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a very nice perspective. So based on your
Thanks.
experience at various TEDx talks, how one can improve their communication skills and also reduce the stage fear?
So I'll tell you like a funny fact. I dread public speaking. So when I was in school, I tried taking part in a lot of elocutions and debates and everything, but there have been so many instances where I just went up on stage and developed cold feet and couldn't deliver my best or just forgot the lines, and I have really messed up big time. And public speaking is something that I've like always dreaded, and it's something that I'm still scared of deep down there because that fear just stays with you. And in spite of doing 5 TED Talks now, it just like hung in with me there. So when I got a chance to deliver my first TED Talk, as much as I was excited, I also knew that this again meant going on stage on a platform like TED and actually speaking for 12 to 14 minutes straight, something I have never done before. And given my past experiences, I have only and only goofed up, but still I decided to take the opportunity up. I told myself that, I'll really work on this. I'll really rehearse. I will give it my best. And I'll once again put myself out there and, see without any great expectations. I'll just make sure that there is little improvement from where I was the last time. And just make sure that I'm taking little steps to improve or to work on this fear of public speaking that I have. And that's how I literally prepared for my first TED Talk. I did a lot of rehearsals with their team. And that's how TED basically works. There are a lot of mock runs. There's a dry run a day before, and everything was going fine. And I was thoroughly prepared with the script. But on the day of the talk in the morning, also, I was the first one to go up on stage. And I know how super nervous and jittery I was, but I just went out there and I just gave it my best. And in the end, it all turned out to be turned out to be good. I wouldn't say it was like the best talk or the best delivery, but it was still far better than what I would end up doing when I was in school and college. So I think just putting myself out there really helped, and I'm glad I succeeded in doing that once again. So if you are also someone who's struggling with public speaking, I would say just actively start engaging in little opportunities you get to host an event or give a talk or be a part of Toastmasters, or even do something like this, a YouTube interaction or a video which just goes up there on a platform. And just with every little effort that you take, just make sure that you're improving little by little. It's okay if you take baby steps. What's important is to make sure that there is progress. That's it.
Yeah, completely agree that you said that taking simple, small steps and coming out of comfort zone would really help one to improve their communication skills.
Correct.
So what was your biggest learning from being selected into McKinsey Next Gen Women Leader Program in 2020?
So I think that was the first maiden program that was launched by McKinsey, and I had stumbled upon it on LinkedIn. So I remember I had just joined LinkedIn the same year in March or April 2020, and then they had come out with the program applications in June. And I just decided to apply because it seemed like this fun program to interact with like-minded women, get a lot of mentorship from McKinsey, and basically do some amazing things. And we all were in a lockdown, we were at home, so it seemed like a great networking opportunity also to me. And that's how I applied for the program. And it was great because it happened like at an Asia Pacific level. So I got a chance to not only interact, but also make friends with some amazing women that were selected from different parts of APAC. There will be, I have friends from Singapore, from Malaysia, from Indonesia, and a lot of other amazing countries. And got a chance to meet a lot of amazing people from within the McKinsey firm, did a lot of case solving workshops with them, networking workshops with them. And overall, it was a great experience. And over the last 2 years, a lot of women have reached out to me to, ask more about the program and the application process. And I'm really, really happy to help because I think it's a great program to be a part of. It teaches you a lot and you also get a chance to meet amazing other women.
Yeah, that seems an amazing experience. So can you share your experience at UN Women as Gender Equality Ally?
So I started as an ally for the Generation Equality campaign this year with UN Women India. On Women's Day is when the announcement was made. And it's all about like working on the Generation Equality campaign with the UN. And the idea of the campaign is all about working towards gender equality and bridging this gender gap from an entire feminist perspective. So I'm working on this campaign. There were a few social media campaigns that I already did with them, a few interesting ideas in mind, since I'm a sports person and I have my own NGO, and I especially work with girls to ensure we have more women representation in the sport, and girls also start considering themselves at par with boys, because they just end up excluding themselves that probably they're not as good as boys at sports, or sports is a boy thing. So to break that entire stereotype, planning to do a lot of initiatives in the area of girls in sports. So let's see, it's going to be a very interesting year ahead.
Yeah, that seems a very nice initiative that you started.
Yeah, and it's just getting started. So there's a lot in store that's coming up.
So according to you, how can issues like women empowerment and women leadership can be resolved?
So I personally believe that we end up looking at these problems with a very global perspective, or from a world perspective. Because when I talk to someone about women empowerment or anything of that sort, many a times I get statistics like, oh, so many million women are being suppressed in India, the female labor force participation is so low, the domestic violence is so high. so many girls are not getting education. But I think the root cause of the problem starts in our immediate micro environment. In fact, my fifth TED talk that I gave earlier this year was all about that. That, many a times you don't realize, but the issue persists within our minds, within our immediate family members, and within the very upbringing that we get. Because we, just saying simple things like, boys will be boys, or you're a girl, sit properly, or you're a boy, don't wear the color pink. In a way, we are stereotyping a lot of things, and expecting boys to behave in a certain way and putting certain restrictions on girls, which is not right. So if you're talking about equality, if you're talking about empowerment, all this needs to end. And many a times our brains are also engineered in such a way that we just end up looking at things in a very stereotypical perspective. For example, if I just put out a very simple question that, imagine the CEO of a company. The first thought that comes to your mind is a man in a three-piece suit. I mean, why aren't you imagining a woman in that position or that role? So these little things you need to change. And when we shift that perspective, seeing things not going fine in the world will make us uncomfortable. And when we get uncomfortable about it, we will start addressing the issue. So I would say women empowerment, make sure it starts right in your mind. Make sure that you start looking at gender inequality, not as a woman's issue, but actually as a human issue, because both sides of the spectrum are suffering in their own ways. And there have been a lot of research papers out there showing that, as much as equal rights are important for women, they are also important for men. And I would say that there is a lot of progress that's happened over the past few years, but as a country, India still has miles to go. So if we start taking little steps today, we'll probably be able to get there soon.
Yeah, that's very true. Breaking stereotypes and start taking micro steps. Like if every family starts change their mindset towards this issue, then it will automatically get resolved at a bigger scale rather than starting from a top to down level approach.
Correct. And it's not about, just doing really anything path breaking. For example, now that, the academic year has kicked off and schools have just started. So a lot of people are talking about, the school dropout rate and girls getting pulled out of school and a lot of other things. So for this, you don't really have to start your own NGO, start your own campaign, or, donate a lot of money to any NGO. It's as simple as, keeping an eye around on your immediate environment. You have your house help, you have your watchmen, you have other people around you. Just ask them if they are sending their daughters to school. Are there any financial hardships they are facing? And there are a lot of NGOs out there who are exactly looking for such people to support them, to support their daughters. So that's the bare minimum that you have to do. So, instead of writing articles about it or, going and giving speeches about it, it's just about like making sure that the micro environment that you live in, everything is going fine, and everybody is getting like an equal opportunity to make the most out of life.
Yeah, I completely agree with this point that taking small steps by every person would be far more helpful rather than just going into the theory and writing papers and discussing over books.
Correct.
So what is your biggest learning from being selected into LinkedIn Creator Accelerator Program 2022?
So I think content creation is something that I never looked at very seriously. Even when I started writing on LinkedIn, it just happened by chance. Then I became a part of their LinkedIn for Creators program and started getting a lot of engagement on LinkedIn. But I think it wasn't until the Creator Accelerator program happened to me that I actually realized that, content creation is something that I can dedicatedly start looking at, and the vast amount of opportunities that the creator economy has to offer, and so many other things that are happening within that space. So I think the CAP program has been really eye-opening and has also given me the chance to build this amazing network of so many other great content creators that are there on LinkedIn, know how they work, know how they brainstorm their ideas. And now I look at content creation with a much more serious perspective. I have been creating content more than I generally would. I have been trying to, make it sure that I'm streamlining it rather than just putting anything out there. And I just feel that probably in a few months down the line, I will start looking at this as a dedicated side hustle, because creator economy is a great place to be, and it's literally booming at a great rate.
Yeah, very true. Like a lot of people highly underestimate the creators economy. And I also got to know about you through your very useful contents that I saw over LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, most of my leads or opportunities that I have gotten to bring my first TED Talk happened because of the visibility that I got through posting on social media. So if I would suggest that if anybody else wants to also get started on their social media journey, but is just hesitating because they don't know what to post or they don't know what others will think, uh, trust me, just put away all those fears because the kind of opportunities that lie on the other side of the tunnel are really endless. So just the key isn't just getting started.
Yeah, I completely relate this point. Like I was active on LinkedIn for last 2 years, but I was also facing the same issue, like what to post or am I a right person to share contents and many more. But then I observed a few months ago that like how much the importance of content creation and this creators economy over the time. And then I also started posting.
Okay.
So which skills help you in your work role as a consultant?
So I think it would be very tough to name any one skill, but in consulting, it's a lot of skills that actually come together. But two skills that really stand out is your creative problem solving skills, and number two is your communication skills because it's very different from any other industry or job that you look at. In consulting, you work on a lot of different projects. Every business problem is different, every client is different, every functional area that you may look at may end up being different, and with a different project you might also end up working with a different team. So there's a lot of versatility and flexibility that you're expected to have, and of course you should be open to learning. You have very steep learning curve while you work in consulting. You should know how to start creative problem solving with a business acumen. And it's not just about finding the solution, but it's about convincingly communicating it. So having good communication skills is something that's again required. I think my communication skills is something I've got a good chance to improve because of consulting, because many a times I have been given the chance to be put out there and actually speak directly to the client, lead a lot of presentations. So I think if you are also someone who is looking at making a career in consulting, it's a very interesting field. You trust me, you'll not have a single boring day. And these are a few skills that you will definitely have to brush up on before you even get into your consulting interviews.
Yeah, consulting really distinguishes itself from other jobs by providing very different projects, meeting very different people, and it never feels boring to anyone.
Correct.
So can you tell more about your initiative, Play and Shine Foundation?
So I started Play and Shine in 2018, and I absolutely loved sports, still do. And I was also working as a volunteer in college with a few other NGOs. So when I was at the fag end of my chartered accountancy, I decided, why not start some initiative of my own by which I can not only keep in touch with sport, but also involve the entire social impact angle and give back to the sports community, which has given me so much. And that's how Play and Shine was born. A lot of it also came because of the support from my co-founder, Sarthak. And together we started off with just the two of us. And that is how the start was. There was no glamorous team, no glamorous plan. We didn't even know where we were heading. All we knew is, we have an idea and let's just see where this goes. And now I think 4 years down the line, I'm glad we took that leap of faith because there there's so much I've got to learn, and there's so many amazing opportunities that have come my way. We've got the chance to work with more than 4,000 children, a lot of different sports we teach them. We work with more than 500 volunteers and with organizations like the Tata Sustainability Group, Teach for India, Decathlon. There is Robin Hood Army, there is Cry, and many, many more. So I think it's been a very, very fulfilling journey, and the kind of satisfaction I get when I see a kid step on the sports field for the first time, or fall in love with sports, it's simply unmatched. And somewhere, I look back at the 5 or 6 year old me who first probably pursued basketball and actually started liking sports and actually was hungry for more. So yeah, that's pretty much the story about Play and Shine.
Yeah, that's a really nice initiative that you started.
Thanks a lot.
So any last message that you would like to give to all our viewers who wanted to be successful in their own field?
So I think all I would say is don't compare your career trajectory with that of anybody else. Always make sure that you own your career. Take informed decisions with respect to what you want to do next or where you see yourself 3 years or 5 years down the line. Because there was a point where I was lagging behind my peers because I decided to pursue CA after graduation, and most of my friends did it after 12th. So while they were almost finishing the course, I was not even in the middle of it. So at that point of time, people, would tell me that, this is a very bad decision. Why did you do it so late? What if you ultimately never clear the exam? And now that I have cleared the exam, I'm also working in a very good company. Everything's going well. The same people just come and tell me that, hey, I mean, we always knew you will do great things in life. So, just shut off the noise. You figure out what you want to do with your career. Speak to a lot of seniors. Don't ever underestimate the power of good advice or mentorship. Take informed decisions and don't compare your career trajectory or progress with someone else. Everybody has their own timelines. Things will come to you. Trust the process and just keep working hard.
Yeah, very true. Having confidence in oneself and avoiding the FOMO is very important for each person to become successful in their journey.
That's correct.
So thank you so much, Priyal, for taking out your time to share your learnings and experiences. It would be really helpful to a lot of the people. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Madhur. And if anybody wants to get in touch with me, feel free to write to me on LinkedIn. I generally check my DMs over the weekend. So I might not get back to you immediately, but I'll definitely get back to you. I can assure you that.